Yeah, just getting off a 10-day road trip. It was our first road trip, so I anticipated, some bumps and bruises and some trials just being on the road for that long. But just really proud of our team, proud of how they interacted with each other because, girls oftentimes on a long road trip can be tough, but they were so respectful. They got along. I think they actually got closer on this road trip, experienced some adversity on the field. But the most important thing was their bounce back. I think that they showed a lot of grit, showed a lot of just resiliency, especially on the last day, to finish strong. And hopefully that'll give us some confidence moving forward as we play LSU tomorrow and then head into conference play next weekend.
So, Savannah, what did the road trip get to y'all? And where are y'all? Like, you still got more road games to go. Just talk about the wear on y'all.
I think with it being our first, it was kind of new, especially because we're a new team, new people coming together and just having to work through little things, right? Adversity on the field, being around each other for 10 days straight. And like she said, we're girls. But I think it did a lot of good for us, especially with our first conference being away. So it kind of gave us some experience in that aspect. We grew a lot on the field, off the field, together as a team. It was a lot of growth for us, so I think it was very good.
Your hitting is starting to be a little more productive. Just talk about that.
I think right now I'm just finding a way to get on base, which is, kind of, I guess, what I do. But I'm going to keep working to, like this week, I was up first. I did a lot of innings, so I had to spark the inning. But I know that later in the season I'm going to be up with runners on, and I'm going to need to come through. So I'm just going to continue to work with my hitting, getting those doubles in the gap. That's, where I want to be. But right now I'm finding a way on, and it's working. So, just if I got to run it out, I'm going to run it out is kind of what was this week's motto for me. So, but I'm going to keep working.
Taking Alabama 4-3, that'd have been a really good feeling. I mean, it's a loss, but it's not a bad loss. Can you talk about that?
The first game? Yes. Yeah, I think obviously, you go into the Rhodes House and it's a lively environment. And just having that experience and just being able to play good competition. We started out with Iowa, and I felt like we didn't really play to our potential the first game. So the second game, it was just a matter of, okay, how we're going to respond, and are we going to be able to, play to our potential? And I thought we did. I thought we played a lot better against Alabama than we did Iowa that day. And again, I think we're one pitch, maybe a couple inches away from that game as well. So I liked our response in that game.
How do you feel what going 2-0 in those last two games prepares you for Sun Belt Conference play?
Oh, I think it definitely does. I think it gives us confidence going in, especially after, the Mississippi State game was really tough because we had never gotten beat like that. So the Iowa game was a little like, oh man, are we going to recover? Alabama game was better. And then to finish the way we did, I think really gives the team confidence to know that, okay, we can bounce back. We're good. Everybody's good. We actually got better. Tyra obviously showed a lot in circle, and I think it helps us a lot with confidence moving forward as we do go into conference play.
Tyra, talk about, you had two very encouraging performances and one not so encouraging. Just talk about the ups and downs of coming back after a break, and what did you kind of learn, and what was each one like?
I think the biggest thing I learned through this week, like coming back after the injury, was just the support that I have from this team. I said it even after the Alabama game, because after Auburn, I was like every, female athlete that has an outing like that. You question, what you're doing and why you're here, those things. And just to have just the overwhelming support, not only from friends and family, but this team that just loved me through it. I had girls that just, girls who would kill to even be on the field, just loving me through meeting the opportunity and essentially not performing the way I thought I could. And so that was one thing I even said after the game at Alabama when Coach Alley asked if we had anything to say. I just said, thank you guys for loving me through the good, the bad, the ugly, and even Cajun Nation. I had people DMing me on Facebook, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, wow, just the overwhelming support from this community allows you to have that confidence in yourself that sometimes you don't always have. And I think it's good to be real with yourself and understand that we as female athletes go through times where it's not all, oh my gosh, everything's great. But just to have that love and support around you, that's just what this week showed me, was just all that.
But when you pitch well, what did you take from that can really go moving forward?
I think that outing against Alabama was the team. Like it was, I mean, I came up to Sav before the game and I said, okay, how do we beat them? I mean, she caught against them. I'm like, how do we do it? Because I want to do it. And we wanted to do it for Coach Allie. And so I was like, how do we do it? And she said to me, she goes, you need to focus on your spot every single pitch. She said, hammer the spot every pitch. And then if you don't get that spot, we'll move to the next one. And I think really just being in that moment, like I've gone back and watched the game now just to scout it for, pitching purposes. And I was just so in the moment, and it really taught me that it's like Coach Allie's preached to us this year, like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And that's how every game should be looked at, is it's not a sprint, it's 100, 120, 130 pitches, 7 innings of just hard work and grinding through it. And I think that's what I'm going to take in, this week going into LSU or going into when we play Marshall, is just taking it one pitch at a time, because it being our last year, I mean, every pitch is one pitch that I don't have anymore. So just not having any regret on any pitch.
Tyra, with you being an experienced player, like how much, wisdom are you kind of able to give to a lot of your teammates, especially about when it comes to like playing on the road? Because obviously you're with home, sleeping in hotels, traveling, your routine's different. How much are you able to give them wisdom?
I think being a fifth year, what I just try to do with my teammates is just invest in them. Coach Allie has really preached to us about investment into everyone and loving the moment, because there's little girls, there's friends that I used to play with that would kill to be sitting in a hotel room. When we're missing our bed at home, like people would kill to be in our position. People would kill to be, playing at the University of Alabama. Like I try to instill in my team that be grateful for the moment, because someone would literally give anything to be in your shoes. And I think also is, like I said, in the previous question, is that it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And, working through every little piece that we had this week made us better. I think the losses made us better. I think the wins made us better. We went on a retreat this weekend, like a random one-day little retreat. And those little things made us better. And I think, like Sav said in the beginning, it made us stronger as a team. And I don't know, I think we're ready to go down to LSU, and I think we're ready to go to West Virginia. I think we had a lot of fun these last 10 days.
So what did you see in your team after those 2 losses Friday and then before the 2 games Saturday? Like what were you seeing?
Just, I guess a little bit of the frustration of, okay, are we going to do this? And again, it's little things. It's maybe not diving for a ball, or maybe one pitch that should have been higher that wasn't high enough. So it was little things, and maybe a little frustration there. But then when it was all said and done, like the goal was the next day, okay, the sun came up, and now how we're going to respond to that, like it's one pitch at a time. We have to be ready on one pitch. That's it. And then the next pitch. So can we really all focus and buy into and be intentional about this pitch? Not just the ones on the field, everyone in the dugout too. We had 21 on the roster this weekend. There's 21 on one. Like we got to really be intentional and stay together and buy into, like, we're all invested in one pitch. And it helped us, I think, the second day.
It's kind of a question for everyone. How sweet was it to beat Alabama?
Well, just the whole, I think your question was maybe the initial question was about the homecoming in the sense of how they made me feel, like they did a video for me and just the welcome with the fans. And I was just so proud. Like, Alabama fans have always been so classy and so, have always made me feel special. They had a big thing for me when I retired. So coming back, I was a little like, what is this going to look like? Because I was retired. I didn't plan on any of this. So how would they respond to that? And they were just so welcoming. And I just appreciated everything Coach Murphy did, and all the fans, the players, everyone was just nothing but love. And I told them, before the game, I was like, look, you guys, I spent half my life here. So there was a lot of investment. So I am going to be loving on people, but that doesn't mean I don't, I'm in it with you, you're my team. And so it was just kind of a weird kind of way to go about it. And my feelings that I felt all weekend were just, I never felt that, because it's just a tough dynamic, I guess. I think I blew an emotional fuse at one point. I didn't even know how to feel. I was just numb, but just overwhelmed with gratitude for my experience in Alabama, the love I felt from them, and then for this team to respond the way they did and the grit they showed. I was just so proud of not just how they played, but how they interacted with each other, the class they played with, the respect they had on the field, the way they played the game. I was just proud on every level.
is it going to be hard to push all that aside now and go forward for any of you?
I don't think we're going to push it aside. I think we're going to, Coach Allie teaches us to what do you say, permeate that feeling through every cell in your being. And I'm not gonna lie, the last 2 days I've been permeating through my cell that we just beat Alabama, and it wasn't us, and it was 21, and then you could even go as far as 24. Even the girls that weren't there were watching and cheering and putting all their love into us. And then you go as far as the coaches and the 5, and then our support staff. Like that was a program win for sure. And I don't know. I think that's not something that we'll push aside. I think that's something we'll build off of. I know as a pitcher, like I'm definitely going to be looking at, all right, we beat Alabama. Like we can beat anyone. And I think that, I don't know if that's something we'll push aside. I think we'll hold on to that one for a little while.
Yeah.
So I know Emily didn't play one of the games. What's her situation?
Yeah, she slid into third base, kind of had a little whiplash there, so maybe out for a little bit. So yeah, that was kind of a surprise on Saturday. But man, the response even to that, like I was so proud of. We didn't want to change up too many positions, so putting Mac at first the first game, and I think she responded very well on defense. I think offensively, maybe in her first at bat, just a little overwhelmed, but then really fought through her second at bat. I was really proud of that. And then just trying to give maybe Mia Norwood an opportunity, to third, and I know Sam Rose always comfortable at first, just to see how kind of that worked out. Wanted to try both of those scenarios, and I thought Mia did a fantastic job. She took again, low anxiety. I think defensively, offensively, came through in some really big moments with execution. Really proud of her there too. So I just loved how, we had 2 newbies who really stepped up in those moments, and they happened like all of a sudden, kind of blindsided us. So
what do you see the next week in those 2 areas?
I think it might be very similar in regards to, I don't really know when Emily's going to be back. Hopefully soon, but still questionable. So, we'll be ready. I mean, we'll get to practice today, which, again, that was Mia Norwood's first time being at third in a game, So I think now getting a little bit of practice and being able to maybe feel more comfortable in those positions will help.
For both of the players, Savannah, we'll start with you. I guess y'all getting ready to start Sunbelt play. Obviously, you have the conference streak that looms over everything. Like, how much of that is about not focusing on, like, we got to protect the streak, we got to keep it going, and just about playing every game that you get a chance to when you're out there?
So yeah, we've talked a lot about that, and especially with a new team, like very, very new coaches, a lot of new players. It is a standard though, like this is a program standard, and we've talked about that, wanting to keep that streak. But like she says, it's not a sprint. We're not going to go into it like we have to, like we get to keep that streak. And when she talks about that so much, it's an opportunity, not something that's going to like weigh on us. It's an opportunity to keep that streak another year and hold that standard another year. And we're just going to have to fight pitch by pitch. We talk about that a lot. It's one pitch at a time. And so like I think that's how we're going to go into it, looking at that, something that could be very weighing over us, but we're going to take it as an opportunity.
Tyra, when you first heard about that,
I think initially I was like, wow. Like, I think that was honestly like just being like vulnerable. Like, but I think like Sav said, it's more of like a get to that kind of legacy is here. Like we as a team get to step foot in the shoes that put that legacy. And so the minute, I especially know this as a pitcher, like the minute I say, gosh, I hope I don't walk this girl, I usually walk her, or I hope I don't hit her, and I usually hit her. And so I think rather than looking at it as, I hope we don't lose the streak, it's like, no, we're going to keep the streak. And I think that our team has a lot of confidence. I think that we know what we can do, and it is like we get to be a part of that legacy that's came so many years before us. So.
Okay, I've asked you this a week and a half or so ago, but after going through the Auburn tournament in Alabama, has that changed anything about your thought about pitching rotations for the week once you get into conference play, or where are you in that process?
Yeah, it's still day to day. It's still about who's feeling good, and then trying to figure out who does well back to back days, who does better with a day rest in between. So, I mean, it's still early in the sense of trying to figure that piece out. And then who's better starting and who's better coming in? You know, I mean, I think we're starting to maybe get a better gauge of that. Savannah does a great job of giving us feedback on those kind of things. So, yeah, it's going to be, and again, one day that might work, one day it may not. So I think it's still day to day in the sense of what that's going to look like.
Who's starting tomorrow?
Oh, that's a great question. Don't know yet. Good job, there, Kevin. Good try.
Coach, kind of in looking ahead to tomorrow, what kind of unique or challenges that this LSU team kind of brings to the table, or some of the things that kind of stand out about them?
Yeah, I mean, they're a great team. I mean, they have great pitching, they have speed, they have power, they have it all, you know? So yeah, we just have to we're going to prepare a little bit today and just step on the field ready to play and ready to compete. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is like, yeah, I mean, we're going to LSU and they're a great team. They're in the SEC, and again, I think, you know, playing Auburn, playing Ole Miss, playing Mississippi State, playing in the environment at Alabama, I think is going to prepare us for tomorrow night. And I think that's going to be the biggest piece is knowing that we've been here, not necessarily, I mean, some of them have been in that venue, but that it's an opportunity. It's a great opportunity and we get to, and we're just going to compete and stay within ourselves.